Hey everyone, and welcome back to Don't Open That Door. I am Justin, a member at the Aquarium for my skills in underwater philosophy.
I should have known. I'm Nico, and I drowned.
Wow.
Jesus
Wow.
Christ. Okay. What would you do, done?
Well, I'm Dan, and I'm part of the underwater squad.
Oh, shit.
Shout outs to Keith Abe, yo. And we are here today to discuss Aquarium of the Dead. This was directed by Glenn Miller, starring Vivica A. Fox as Clue, Ava Seha as Miranda Riley, DC Douglas as Daniel Hanley, Brandon Lee W. as Skylar, and Anthony Jensen as Senator Blackburn. So we open with Yvette at the Shining Sea Aquarium. She's trying to basically save an octopus, but it looks like the creature's on death's door. One of the assistants tosses her a syringe of epinephrine that bears the logo of Eden Zoo.
What?
Yup. The same zoo that was the origin point of zombies. The octopus dies, but is quickly reanimated, and it kills the assistant vets and heads into the ventilation shaft. Speaking of shaft, Nico, what happens next?
What was that transition? After we see Miranda, after we see Miranda, not Christ, the director of the aquarium.
So you're seeing Christ because you died already.
Yes, I saw him in the water. After we see Miranda, the director of the aquarium, in a conversation with Senator Blackburn. Miranda wants more funding for the aquarium because it hasn't received too many upgrades or renovations in some years and is pretty out of shape. They spend a pretty good portion of the scene talking about like, yeah, our internet sucks in particular, like it's some 56K shit on brain. And meanwhile, Daniel, an aquarium staff member, and Skylar, a visitor, are conducting a tour when the octopus begins to spread its virus through the aquarium. The animals go rogue, break through their enclosures, hilariously, and begin to attack the staff.
Dan, under attack, where do our heroes go?
So Miranda and the senator, along with some staff members, attempt to escape, but the aquarium fail-safe procedures kick in and the doors are locked. Daniel and Skylar face a similar situation, and they fight off some undead coconut crabs, meet back up with Miranda's group. The group encounters a walrus, which Skylar tries to fight but is brutally murdered. A starfish attaches itself to Senator Blackburn's aid, killing her as well.
Unfortunate.
Patrick, no. All right, so at this point, Miranda discovers a syringe from the Eden Zoo, Nani, and makes a connection between the syringe and the happenings at the aquarium because she understands basic deductive reasoning. Clue, the security guard, manages to release the locks on the doors, but Miranda's group still has to activate the backup generator to power the doors. Erstwhile, and you know it's going to be good when Justin wrote erstwhile in the script, sure. The octopus from earlier in the movie stalks the group and kills Senator Blackburn. Miranda manages to activate the generator, though, and shocks the octopus with a loose wire, killing it again.
All right. Well, Dan, take us home.
So now the movie finishes with Daniel confessing to Miranda that he did not destroy the supplies from the Eden Zoo, as Senator Blackburn told him to sabotage the aquarium. Miranda punches him in the face, and the end.
Well, you guys know we've got an ocean of things to talk about.
Oh boy, fucking howdy.
So let's get started here with the visuals. So listeners who heard our review of the first Zombies knows that this movie takes a very avant-garde, Nico, approach to its creatures.
It's different, yeah. Are you talking about the sort of like the way it takes place in the timeline, or what?
I was referring to just the look of the creatures. How are they portrayed in this movie?
Oh, they're not great. The editing is bad to the point that it's actually pretty funny sometimes. There was one scene in particular where there were these coconut crabs, and obviously it's CGI. They didn't like go to a fucking Red Lobster and raid the place or something. Do they sell coconut crab anywhere as food?
I don't know.
Well, you can get like crab with coconut, like in that way it is coconut crab, but the actual like 6-foot fuckers that climb up on your trash can at night, not here.
I mean,
we
like,
saw one at H Mart, bro.
A coconut crab?
dead ass?
We just saw a big ass crab at H Mart.
Straight up, did you?
Oh, that
I don't know if it was officially a coconut crab, but it was a big ass crab.
I believe that was a Antarctic snow crab.
I mean,
you're probably right.
that's still rad as hell. Anyway, yeah, no, the editing isn't great, and there's one scene where the coconut crabs are like jumping on Skylar, and it's almost like a dinner plate. It looks like the shadow that they superimposed on him. It gives the crab a very sort of like UFO flying saucer-esque quality visually, which, you know, in the moment is hysterical, and I'm not going to say that that's not still a positive, but they don't look great.
I see. Dan, I'm talking about now, I guess some of the general framing of the movie, maybe some of the special effects. What were your thoughts?
They weren't great. Not at all. Definitely a lot of CG, also a lot of canned footage from like nature stuff. And there was that one scene with the crocodile that they showed the same footage like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah,
This
they
crocodile
reused
in
footage.
the hallway, which I feel like was funny the first time. You're like, wait, that's
Yeah.
the same footage. But after like the 3rd or 4th, you're like,
Bruh.
all right, come on.
All right. Now, I want to know a little bit about just the general kind of audio here. Now, Nico pointed out something when we watched this movie the other night. Does the octopus sound like a tiger?
The octopus literally. Oh my god, I forgot about that. Why does the octopus have to sound like a tiger? So the first thing we hear from these zombies, Aquumbies?
Aquumbies, yes.
Aquumbies. Okay, we're going here. The first thing that we hear from this menacing cephalopod is this deep, guttural, low roar that just keeps coming. And it sounds like the king of the fucking jungle. That's lions. They sound like that too. It sounds like a predator. It sounds like a lion. Why does an octopus sound like a lion? An octopus shouldn't sound like a lion.
I mean,
They are called the lions of the ocean.
No, they're fucking not.
well, from the man who has dubbed them the lions of the ocean, Dan, what can you tell us about the audio? A little bit of a deeper dive, if you will.
'Cause I feel like you're lying
Oh,
about that.
oh.
He takes pride in that.
You know what? Hakuna Matata, motherfuckers.
Anyways, audio was, I thought it was actually okay.
Okay.
The music was not bad. It was kind of cool, orchestral, not really like horror-y, more like a action movie almost kind of soundtrack, I
Almost
thought.
playful at times.
Yeah, I thought that was, the audio quality and everything to me was passable.
All right, I agree. I pretty much agree. And I have to also kind of second everything Nico said about the way that certain things looked. I will say this. For me, the most disappointing part was there were times when action was supposed to be happening, and we kind of got robbed of that a little bit because
A lot, bit.
one thing that comes to mind was there was a sea otter.
They hype up these fucking sea otters for like 20 minutes, and we never see them.
Yeah, like literally the sea otters are supposed to be this like menacing force, and I guess they just did not have the budget for the sea otters because we come back at it and where are we? Yeah, same place we were before.
You know what's kind of sad? On the note of the budget, I genuinely would have preferred if they went on some, like, Goodwill shit and got some, like, goofy-looking stuffed animals as the sea otters, but still, like, played it completely seriously.
Like that one scene in the Christmas shark movie.
Oh my
the
god.
crocodile.
Yeah, because it would have been more exciting, funny even to see like these motherfuckers losing their minds over a Beanie Baby as opposed to what we get, which is well, Dan, why don't you explain how some of these shots are conducted?
You know, that is kind of one issue that I had is just sometimes in order to, I think, get around the budgetary constraints, they only showed like half of what I wanted to see.
Right.
So like there's a scene where there's 2 sharks just like chilling on the floor and they have to kind of like jump around them and finagle their way around.
It goes on for way longer than it should.
It is way longer, but we only see like the top half of the sharks.
Right.
And that could be fine for like a 30-second scene or something.
From like looking up, so your
Right.
perspective is right by that dorsal fin.
Right. And it just after it's like a 6 or 7 minute scene, and it's just like, all right, it doesn't look good. And again, in a passing shot or something, fine, but on a scene that long, it looks weird. And we have a lot of scenes like that.
Yeah, we definitely do. I think I struggle to understand why they would make that choice, considering, I will talk about this more a little bit later, but they didn't have a problem with that earlier on, like they didn't have a problem with throwing in something a little bit goofy. And I wonder if maybe because the creatures are, aquatic in nature, it's a little bit harder to mimic.
Yeah, you never see stuffed animals of sharks. Oh wait, you do.
Well, I'm saying like as opposed to like throwing a guy in a gorilla suit.
Oh yeah. Yo, what if a dude came out in a massive fucking shark suit? Just like, I'm a shark.
But that would have been hilarious.
What if it was like Left and Right Shark from the Katy Perry show?
I would have loved that. These are all better sounding movies than what we had.
So, you kind of hit it on the nail, Nico. I want to talk about how good of a quote unquote bad movie this is. So, kind of a letter to the audience here. We can't judge this movie all the way based on what we would normally judge horror movies on. This is
Right.
kind of in that kind of B movie genre where it's meant to be poked fun at a little bit. It's meant to be taken lightly. But taking that into account, I mean, how good of a bad movie is it really? Dan, do you think it's something that is great, or how do you feel about it?
I don't think it fulfilled the requirements to me.
Okay.
I thought it was a little bit too bad and a little too sloppy.
Okay.
I think sometimes there's a fine line between how good you can be. If you're too good, then you're a bad good movie. If
Right.
you're too bad, you're just a bad movie. And so sometimes I think it's a fine line, and I don't think this one quite got to the good bad movie part.
Okay. Now, Nico, in terms of kind of just the general tropes of horror comedy, how does this pull them off?
So, the thing that I think ails this movie the most is twofold when it comes to the conventions of horror comedy. One, just the way the editing works, we barely see any kind of threat that could even imply the horror aspect of it, just because when we're in scenes that are supposed to be scary, we just have the actors grimacing at the camera and for a little bit, and then it's usually like the camera's on the floor or something, so it's just weird tonally. And the comedy part of it almost comes out in spite of the content of the movie. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, there were times when I was laughing hysterically at that movie. Y'all remember? And the problem is I don't know if those were scenes that I was supposed to be laughing at necessarily.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I think for me, the one thing that got to me was when the, kind of the characters would describe what was happening rather than it kind of being shown. I was a little bit confused. I was trying to put it together, like why, why on earth? Like, it's almost kind of like if you're not going to show it to me, don't even bother mentioning it. Because
Yeah.
it doesn't make me feel any better to know that there's something really cool that I can't see.
Yeah, like we joked at the beginning of the movie a couple of times about like the foreshadowing of these sea otters or whatever. And it's like, oh, they're talking big in the intro. I bet we're going to see something like this. And then just they didn't even build up to a climax. It was just nothing.
Yeah, that's pretty true. Also, I think this movie's really light on comedy. I think there's a lot of, and this is kind of weird, and I could not figure this out for the life of me while we were watching this movie. So there are random bits that are like educational. They talk about like how many, like teeth, I think it was like a shark has, or like random educational bits. Like Dan said, canned shots of like happy fish swimming that were supposedly, having broken their aquarium already, but they're back in there now, kind of happily swimming. And some of the smaller points didn't really match up. And again, I know you're not really supposed to like get down to the granular details of something that's meant to be taken lightly, but when the movie doesn't give you enough to feast upon, you go looking for something to eat.
Yeah.
And I do think that's kind of a major portion. But one thing they do give us is this subplot of Daniel, not our Dan, but Daniel betraying the aquarium. So apparently we've got a Senator Blackburn here who he's the owner of the aquarium, but he kind of wants to like get rid of it now and he can't get rid of it. So he, kind of is working with some of these employees at the aquarium to sabotage it. That was a random subplot. How'd you feel about it, Nico? Particularly the revelation at the end that Daniel had betrayed the aquarium.
So I saw it coming. The character of Daniel is kind of aloof, is the best I can describe him. He seems almost a little cocky at first when we have the what was her name? Miranda?
Yes, Miranda.
Yeah, Miranda talking to him about like, did you get rid of the syringes? Please tell me, please prove to me that you got rid of these syringes. And he's like, nah, babe, I got it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I don't know where Tommy Wiseau came from, but he just decided to show up in my voice there for a second. So here we are. But I could just, it's very clear that he was the one who fucked up from the beginning, just from his body language, from his demeanor, and everything. And I think because of that, maybe he was supposed to be more of a comedic relief character, but I just kind of found him annoying.
I'm largely in agreement with you, to be honest, that he was annoying. He did have like one cool scene where he like used his axe and straight up like Zelda skyward sorted one of the coconut crabs.
Yeah, oh no, that was a pretty fucking funny shot.
Which was hilarious because quite literally earlier on, he told Skylar, no, don't use the edge. Use like, you gotta blunt force it.
Always edge.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
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 Yeah, it helps.
It does.
But with the crabs, he was supposed to use like a blunt melee weapon. That's what he told Skylar to use, but then he used the sharp melee weapon immediately afterwards.
Drew the wrong card.
So, Dan, I want to know your thoughts on your namesake right fast. I mean, a villain, but...
You were named after this guy.
I was, you're right.
Was it necessary for this film to have a human villain, do you think?
I don't think it was. I thought I would have been happy if they just, oops, we forgot to throw these out. And that's the extent of it. Like, I think the end, I feel like that plot point almost is to pad out the movie a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The movie's only an hour and 15. So you took away the last 5 minutes of that, and now you only got an hour and 10-minute movie. I don't know. It wasn't like bad. I don't dislike it necessarily. I just think the movie would have been exactly as effective if it just wasn't there.
Yeah.
I agree. And actually, real quick, the one kind of actual comedy in this movie is brought by the two, I'm going to assume firefighters or EMTs.
These useless motherfuckers.
See, these two...
We didn't even include them in the plot synopsis because they literally do nothing.
So when the Eden Zoo goes into lockdown, Skylar makes a quick call and he says, hey, there's a fire here. So they dispatch these two. Now check it out. These two guys are literally standing up right outside of the aquarium, but one of them, I guess, is about to be engaged or something, or trying to be engaged. So his older partner's like, talk to me about it. Hey, dispatch, we'll be there in about half an hour. I'm like, holy shit.
Standing right outside the fucking place.
Like, these people are getting, like, mauled by starfish, and you're out here trying to, like, get there in half an hour.
Have some weird sort of fucking father-son moment where it's like, let's force some character development.
But, like, what if there was an actual fire, though? Like,
yeah, like, they deserve to lose their license to do whatever the fuck it is they're employed to do.
And then they, like, walked around, couldn't find anyone, and we're like, well... I guess we're done. Like, I guess we're done here.
And then they had the moment where they were talking to was it a random passerby?
Yeah.
And it was like, oh yeah, we can't do anything right now. The power's out.
And you could very clearly see the power is on in the city.
Yeah.
And they tried to, like, blur the lights a little bit. So I'm like, bro, I can clearly see the lights. There's a dude riding on his bike going past here. Like, come on now. Come on now.
Like, was this movie just an attempt of the directors to fuck with us, maybe?
Potentially, but, and I'm gonna get to that power outage in the city just a second from now. Dan, can't talk about this movie without talking about, it's not a prequel, because this movie happens concurrently with the first Zombies movie.
The same cool.
Because we have a quick shot of the main character the owner of the zoo, where she's in like some kind of Skype call with Miranda, and she's telling her, "Oh, please make sure you've destroyed it."
Yeah, protagonist from the first movie.
Yes, because now she doesn't say, "Please make sure you've destroyed it because we've discovered it brings motherfuckers back to life."
Which is kind of crucial, yeah.
Yeah.
Buried the lead there a little
Yeah.
bit, but was like, "Just make sure you destroy it." Oh, we got the certification. All right. Everyone just kind of said, "All right," and just kept it moving past that. But Dan, I want to know, in comparison, do you like the first one better? You like this one better? Which did what better?
I definitely like the first one, the original Zombies, better.
Uh-huh.
I feel that this is a watered down version of it.
Audience about to get up and leave this goddamn table.
I don't know. The first Zombies, and disclaimer, I haven't seen the second yet, so I can't comment on that. But the first Zombies is just very, to me, earlier I mentioned like a fine line of good and bad and quality wise, and I think it's like perfect. I think that, yeah, the CG or the animals look a little bad sometimes, but they're like comically bad. Like the giraffes are just really funny bad.
Yeah.
But in this one, I feel like some parts of it weren't quite bad enough, but other parts were like too bad. I guess I can only describe it like Super Nintendo, SNES versus like PlayStation, right?
Right.
On a technical level,
Choose your words carefully.
on a technical level, the PlayStation graphics are better. But personally, if I look at Final Fantasy VII and like Final Fantasy VI, I prefer 6 better. Or like if you look at like Street Fighter or something, like I think those graphics are better than what like the normal playing range, not cutscenes or anything, but the normal Final Fantasy VII is, because it's just so blocky and whatever. So like on a technical level, a lot of the nature kind of can shots were better, quote unquote, than Zombies, but it made it worse, I guess, to me. I don't know if that makes a long tangent there, but yeah.
I agree with you. I agree with you there. I think, when you really compare, and I got to talk about it, just kind of like this movie had a real lack of like kills. I mean, one chick died to Starfish, and she literally just like ran out of time.
Yeah.
The Starfish, for context, attached itself to her
Abdomen?
Yeah, her abdomen, and it was swelling with this ichor like it was some weird fucking tick.
Well, the thing that killed me about it was she was like, "Hey, I didn't want to bother anyone, but I have this thing killing me."
Oh, honey, you gotta go to therapy. Oh, wait, you're dead.
She's like dead, double dead. But the best part was she had just like passed out, and like one person was like, "She's dead. We can't bring her back. She's definitely gone." And I was like, "You are not a medical doctor." So I don't know. That was pretty. They also tried to remove the Starfish with a pen. Keep in mind,
They had an axe.
they had an axe, but the pen was the choice here.
Also, like, you're telling me you couldn't just fucking palm a starfish?
Yeah, you really could. You really could. Even if it was dead, you could still like totally just rip that off. But Nico, would you, given that? So I don't think any of us have seen Zombies 2, which is a prequel, if I hear correctly, to the first Zombies. Do we want a sequel? Do we want another entry in this kind of Zombies cinematic universe?
I could see another entry going really well, honestly. I loved the first one. It is a delight. Go listen to our review on that. It's a good time. And I think that it can be done well. This is just something where I think maybe during production, they started to take themselves too seriously. Just because the sort of the way that this film is just built, it is not greater than the sum of its parts, just because of issues that we've said so far, with a lot of things being implied rather than shown in the editing. We don't see new material of the monsters and stuff. But if we went back to an approach that was more akin to Zombies, I feel like that's money, personally.
So would you want to see it like where? So we've had a zoo, we've had an aquarium. Would you want to like get back to basics, take it to another zoo, or where would you
I want
want
to see it in Florida.
Where in Florida? Just Florida?
Just Florida.
Like a city?
Florida Man edition
Like a
of
city?
Zombies.
Oh, God.
Jacksonville.
All right. Well, it's funny. It's funny that you say that, because I was thinking, first off, I got to speak my piece. In comparison to the first, this doesn't stand up really.
No.
I think the first was willing to take stupid risks. Like Kifo looked like 3 different things.
Yeah.
Kifo was
Which
either
was ideal.
Kifo was either like a CGI projection, some dude in a suit,
Yeah.
or a stuffed animal. It was one of the three. And that was hilarious.
It was so good.
Or even the scene that Dan was talking about with the giraffes ripping people apart, them riding the elephants, the random lions. There was a scene where like the monkey started attacking everyone. Warthog got possessed. You see all these things I can call out. There were scenes that happened.
Yeah.
Memorable things happened.
And they were all novel. They didn't reuse any of their scenes.
No. And even when we couldn't see something, which was when the lions were attacking this like SWAT team, it was hilarious. She was like, don't come. Oh, we're breaking in right now. It's a lion. No. And then like the lions just like murdered them all. And I was like, yo, I couldn't really see it, but that was still hilarious. And they didn't overuse it. That was like the one time. It was just so novel is the good word. Like it was just so novel. Wacky things happened, you know? It was just cool. Even the monkey burster. I mean, we did not get a scene equivalent to the monkey burster in this one.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Something else I just realized really quick. I feel like this movie isn't playing by its own rules as established in the lore of the first episode. The zombies in Zombies were some wild motherfuckers. They were jumping on things and being hostile and shit. Whereas in this one, they go through like leaps and bounds to establish that each one of these zombies is kind of just a slow, blind
Plotting.
Yeah. Like we see the footage of this alligator meandering down the hallway, and it never gets past a waddle.
No, none of them do.
Yeah.
The walrus doesn't really. The sharks just fucking lay there.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like they don't even behave the same as the zombies from the first one.
And that's really the part that killed me was like, if you couldn't afford to have, whatever you tried to do, like you could animate an image to move faster. You could totally do that.
Straight up. And that would be funny. Like if they reused the footage but like sped it up, I think that would have been hilarious.
That might have been funny. And as somebody who watched like all those old ass sci-fi movies back in the day, where every week we would get one, it would be like shark versus squid, mega shark versus giant squid, mecha shark versus octopus with machine gun. Like this was the kind of movie I grew up watching. So I love these cheap movies, but not when it's so cheap that it's to the detriment of the actual movie. And as far as where I'd like to see another film in the franchise, I thought maybe the power going out in the city was a reference to maybe the zombies have spread from, Eden Zoo outwards.
To the city?
Into
Now you
the
just
city.
have giant rats. And
Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe a sequel could just be in the city, like the animals start overtaking and like it could be like that. It could be really cool. Like a lot of birds, squirrels, and I think maybe. Well, I'll save that for later. I don't want to go too early here. Favorite moments. I want to get your favorite moment first, Dan.
So my favorite moment was there's a scene where Skylar is getting attacked by a walrus,
Oh no.
and does he have the axe?
Yes, he has the axe.
And he takes the axe and he does this like jump attack, right? And he totally fucks up, and the walrus just like kills him. But the best part, and Nico made us rewind this to listen again. But when he jumps, there's a little sound effect. It's like whip. So he just jumps, and it's like this badass one. It's like whip, and then he's just like dead. And it was hilarious. And I mean, I think all three of us were like just dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like doubled over belly laughing at that.
Yeah, we saw this last night. Nico just, as soon as that happens, Nico stands up. Nah, run that back. Run that back one time. I was like, all right, fair. Nico, your favorite scene, was it the walrus kill?
That was my favorite moment, just I think from the night. My favorite scene is, I think, just at the beginning when I had hopes that this was going to be a better film.
Oh, wow.
Just with the big fucking octopus attacking, like, that could have been cool. And they showed, and I mean, it kind of was. That was probably the scene they spent most of the animation money on. I mean, was doing cool things. It wasn't just the same shit over and over again. So, I was optimistic. Maybe I was naive.
All right. So, from my perspective, my favorite scene was there's a character called Clue. She's a security guard, and
She's the best part of this movie.
Yes.
she's the best part of this movie in every sense of the word. But we get a scene where, so Clue's at this like security console trying to release everything, And she gets, the doors open so that the group can finally escape.
And you know our policy on doors.
I know.
Don't open it.
Well, the doors can't be open until the power comes back. But
But they magically open once it is back.
I
because
know.
that's how doors work.
so then there's a scene where Clue shows up to like save everybody from the octopus. And so there's just this scene, and I don't watching it is like trying to comprehend like a Lovecraftian horror. Like you've seen it,
Can't do it.
but you can't understand what you saw. And to try to do so with like
I forgot about that scene until right now.
it would break my mind if I tried to understand it. But Clue grabs the axe and does a diving jump with the axe
It's some Mortal Kombat shit, y'all.
towards the octopus. So you're like in your head, oh shit, she's about to go fuck up that octopus. But then it cuts. After the cut, it immediately cuts. So she's jumping forward with the axe. Picture that. Jumping forward with an axe. Cut. Now she has no axe and is falling down into a pit
Facing us.
facing us. So she reversed direction, lost the axe, and is screaming and then dies because the octopus gets her. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. How did we get from the first part to the second part? And I realized there's no logic. You just
None.
couldn't do it. But that was also one of the funniest things in the movie to
Yeah.
me. Because the whole movie, Clue is kind of, she sees like the octopus secretions, and you almost get a feeling that she and the octopus are gonna have a confrontation.
Yeah.
I thought they were.
Yeah.
And the octopus is like the big bad, but Clue is the security guard. She's the one who's supposed to be holding it down, So finally she gets this one-on-one with the octopus, and she doesn't even get to attack it. She just dies.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, come on. Continuity fail.
Yeah.
So that was unfortunate.
I think my other favorite part of the movie, and this is outside of the movie, but at the very end, there's like they kind of zoom out of the aquarium, and Nico looks at the screen and goes, "They used papyrus for their font?
Oh my God.
Those mad lads!" Wow! Out of all the things in this movie,
Yes.
That's where I just couldn't do it.
It was papyrus at the end of the day that caused the
Oh my
tragedy.
God.
So I want to now move on to what would you do?
Vivica A. Fox.
stamp.
Hang
Golden
on,
seal of
the,
approval.
the golden seal of approval there. But we got to talk about these zombies, for lack of a better word. So let's say we are the MVP guests, kind of like Skylar. So we get to tour the aquarium. Nico, you get to play with the dolphin.
Hell yeah.
Dan, you get to feed the sea lions.
Nice.
I get to observe the fish from a distance. So we're all doing that when all of a
That's
sudden,
the MVP treatment. You go and look at fish. That's what everyone else gets.
From a distance.
From a distance.
unspecified distance. But yeah, so then, wow, wow, it goes into lockdown. That was the alarm. Use your imagination, guys. That was the alarm. All the doors are locked. We're there with, Daniel, and Daniel's like, follow the leader. And, we get back into the aquarium, but the animals bust through, water floods the place, the doors are locked, the power's starting to go out. And they're like, we're gonna have to work our way through exhibits to get out. But I'll give you two choices. You can either go through the sea otters or the shark tank. Which one are you going through? Given that we fought off the coconut crabs, so these are zombies.
Okay.
I would do Shark Tank.
Shark Tank?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because even though I know that they're zombified, and don't necessarily follow the rules,
Right.
I would still feel more comfortable fighting a shark on land than I would a sea otter on land.
That is a point. The sea otter has dual typing. It is groundwater.
Yeah.
Nico?
Doesn't it also have thumbs?
What?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so they can fuck you up.
They bust the nuts with the rocks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
On their chest.
They bust nuts with the rocks on their chest.
You ever feel like sometimes you just want to quit? So, yes, so sea otters, confirmed you go through the shark. Now, let's say you had to fight the starfish too. They were mashing them. They were like stomping on them like Spider Stomp. Remember that game from back in the day?
Yeah.
But they kept coming back. What is a more permanent way that you can think of to kill off the starfish for real, for real?
Fire.
Yeah, I'm surprised no one used fire. The element opposed to water.
Yeah. That or just like, I don't know, get a pen or a knife and just like stick it into the ground, nail it there. The fuck are you gonna do?
Oh, I don't know. How many knives do you carry with you on a regular basis?
Well, you see, while you were studying with your degree in underwater philosophy, I was studying the blade.
Oh no!
Wow.
I wasn't actually.
But we have studied Blade,
Or was
audience.
I?
Go check out our episode on Blade.
Yeah.
But no, lastly, Vivica Fox, aka Clue, is like, hey, you guys got to turn on the power. So we go down to turn on the power. It's just the three of us because we live. The other guys were dumbasses. Wouldn't even say when a starfish was killing them. So now we're at the power generator. I know. We're at the power generator and the octopus just looms down. It's the three of us versus the octopus.
Well, I'm fucking done for because I'm allergic to shellfish.
2 of us versus the octopus.
Okay, so
Besides, remember, I drowned already.
Yeah, true.
so using Dan's metaphor of like, like Final Fantasy. So Nico's in the back ranks because we can't let the octopus touch him. So me and Dan are up front. How do we kill off the octopus? Would you think to use like an electrical
Yes.
thing? You would?
Cast Thunder. I played way too many RPGs.
This man came correct.
Even if it doesn't work like that in real life, that's what I would do.
Oh man, Final Fantasy saves the day once
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Nah, I would honestly probably try and like fight it like 1v1. It's an octopus. It cannot beat you.
Here's the thing
Well-
that fucks me up the most about the octopus. Y'all know how octopi work, right? They have like tentacles and they move around sort of, they sort of like skitter on the ocean floor and swim and shit. The way this octopus attacks is it goes and it uses its tentacles like a fucking jumping spider and then goes beak first into it like a hostile frisbee. It is the silliest shit I've ever seen.
It would be pretty fucking terrifying, though.
It would be
See.
pretty terrifying, but like that is not how octopi do.
I was gonna say if I had like my rapier on hand, I could just like riposte and hit it with like a poke,
Yeah.
like a long range poke.
Yeah. Mayhaps even a 10-foot pole.
Oh, yeah.
But if I had my
I bet
cutlass,
he wasted his 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
now I'm just left with my 1-foot pole.
Oof.
But
Wait. What?
what? Yeah, see what I did there.
Anyway.
So I've had my cutlass though. Like one chop, done,
One shot.
done.
We got the one punch man. Justin's the one chop man.
Is one chop.
Yep.
Ba-dap.
One chop!
That's the sound effect of a chop. Ba-dap.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's how we do it. I think we get out okay. Now, what would you tell people about your adventure in the aquarium? Would you say, oh, it was zombies, or what would you say?
It was all right. How was your trip to the aquarium? It was all right.
It was chill.
I would
was
probably say. Because again, I drowned.
Insert aquatic ambiance here. But
Fucking sticker brush symphony.
we're gonna go ahead and do we have any quick criticisms before we go to the critic consensus? Do we have any criticism of this outside of what we've already
Quick
said?
criticisms or criticisms?
I guess anything we haven't already said. We talked about, our disappointment with the CGI. They should have taken more risks with some of the cheaper effects. Anything else that we can really think about?
No.
All right, Nico, you good?
I mean, yeah. I did still have a good time watching this. I want to make sure that's clear because I imagine we're about to give our scores and shit. But I am still a little disappointed,
All right. So there is no Rotten Tomatoes entry for this masterpiece. Don't know why. But on IMDb, it's currently sitting at a 3.0 out of 10. Move the decimal one space, as my teacher taught me. And we've got a 30 out of
3.
100.
Oh,
Close.
A 0.3.
that's what I meant.
Yes.
So let's go ahead now and give our scores. Who's going to be the brave sailor to go into the unknown here and give their score first?
I'll do it. This is a movie that I really, 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 really wanted to like because I love the first one so much. And again, I did have a good time watching it. There are bits of comedic gold sprinkled through here. Whether or not you think it's worth it to watch the whole thing for it, maybe you're not the kind of person who likes movies that are trying to be so bad it's good. But Personally, I had a good time with it, even though I am still very frustrated with it. And so, because of that, I am going to give it a 51.
Wow. You're giving it a 51.
Yeah, just because there were times when, I mean, you both recall there were times when I was taken out of it just from, again, the mechanics of it aren't really well made. And when there's that many distractions, it just makes it a less enjoyable experience, unfortunately.
Understood. Dan, how about you?
I'm gonna kind of echo a lot of Nico's thoughts. I wish, and I'd be kind of interested to know sort of the production backstory on it. I kind of wish there was more time for development on this one. I think it could have been really good, but when you kind of get down to it, there's no plot. Not that this is a movie that needs to have like a plot, but barely anything happens. It's way too short of a movie.
So much of the movie is literally just people waiting.
And
Right.
canned shots.
And canned shots, yeah.
Yeah. So I think if they spent more time working on the movie and just making it overall better, like if this movie came out 6 months later, I think it would have been a better movie. And I'm going to give it a 55.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are both right in my range. I was going to give this one a 52. A 52. Oh, wait, you said 51.
I said 51.
The explanation is not required. 52 is what I give this movie. I literally agree with everything you guys say. It's a shame because I like this genre.
Yeah.
And I want to see more. You know, like I'm not going to discount the franchise from one bad one
Yeah.
because we had Zombies, which is good.
Yeah.
And I think from my perspective, it's just a matter of I know the budget's low, but really, really use that effectively. You know, I don't want to be like mean to the movie, but there was just some stuff that was just incompetent at times.
Yeah.
Some of the framing,
Amateurish.
some of the framing where like the camera hung in weird places. And it was just like, come on, man, that's not even like a so bad it's good thing. That's like a technical thing. And I think the comedy should be on screen, not on a technical side. At least mostly.
Yeah.
Like,
I mostly agree with that. I think there's times where the technical side can be comedic as well. But overall, I agree with you on that.
And
Yeah.
certainly, but this wasn't it.
yeah, like I agree with you, yeah. And I think for that, I can't give it anywhere near high a score as I
Yeah.
gave Zombies. But to Nico's point, I did have a good time. Now, as a quick note to the audience, this is one of the few films that the three of us have seen together.
The only one
The only one.
for the
In
podcast.
person.
Yes, for the podcast. Like, there's been times where like Nico and I have seen a movie together, but this is the first time the three of us have actually gotten together to see a movie. And I mean, seeing it with your friends maybe makes it a little bit better than it really is.
For sure.
Yeah.
So if I'd had to watch it by myself, I maybe would have put this a couple points lower, potentially.
Yeah.
But you can't talk about what hasn't happened. So, yeah, let's go ahead and throw it all out on the table here. Would you recommend this movie?
I think I would if you're the kind of person who enjoys movies that are so bad they're good, but just understand that it is, like Justin said, very amateurish. If you're able to put up with that, you'll still get a few really big laughs. But if you are not that kind of person in the horror community, I know not everyone isn't, then don't waste your time.
Yeah, I would say pass on this one personally. Watch Zombies if you're looking for something that's, you know, in this alley. Because Zombies is just this movie, but a lot better.
Zoomies did it right.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at. So we didn't get the recommend. We're not going to get the golden seal of approval.
No.
Not even magical. So bad it's magical.
It's
I don't think so. I don't think it's
I don't think
magical.
so either. All right.
I had
Well,
such high hopes for this, man.
I did have really high hopes for this as well. So yeah, any last words before we wrap this one up here?
Hope Zombies 2 is kick ass.
Zombies 3.
3,
2.
2.
No, 2's already out.
Right, but we haven't seen it.
Oh, I thought you meant like a sequel to this.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, God.
All right. Well, if you disagree with us, agree with us, or want to tell us about your most recent trip to the aquarium, hit us up. We're on Twitter and Instagram at DOTD Horror. We're also on Facebook. Don't open that door. But that's been it from Nico, Dan, and Jus. We hope you all take care of one another. Try and avoid Starfish if you can. And please, dear listener, don't open that door.
Bye.